Hello, this is the RM513SPBI, which is a 20-inch rotary mower with a roller and Briggs instart. And this is how it arrives in this box like this. So what I'm going to do is just unwrap it, take the top off, and then take everything out and show you how to get it ready for mowing your lawn. So here it is, all unpacked out of the box and all the protective films and coverings taken off. So we've got the main mower here and the handlebars folded down. So they need a little bit of work to get those on, which I'll show you how to do in a minute. We've also got the grass collection box. On this model, it needs just a little bit of assembly. Nothing too much to do there though. I can show you how to do that. And then over here, we've got the manuals, manual for the mower, manual for the engine, the Briggs engine. We've got the nuts and bolts for fixing on the handlebars, cable clips there, little start key, spare one, spark plug, spanner. This is the charger and the battery starter, which I'll tell you about later on when we come to start the machine, and of course the all-important engine oil that we need. So everything is there that you need for the mower, except for a 13mm spanner. You need to have a 13mm spanner or socket to be able to put on the handlebars. So we'll start with those. I'm just going to put this onto the floor just to give me a little bit more room to work. A couple of things first. We need to take off these protective caps. So these are in transit, just to stop any damage. So they can come off and they can be disposed of. And likewise on the ends of the handlebars, we've got these caps here. They just need a pull to get those off, and they can be disposed of as well. So before we offer up the handlebars into position, because we're going to sort of fold them up, I'm going to get the nuts and bolts ready. I'm going to take them apart just to save having to do that. Otherwise you finish up needing about 6 hands to do the job. So we've got nuts, bolts and washers. So I'm going to strip those down and get those ready for use in a minute. To assemble the handlebars, simple, it's all folded down. So we're just going to lift that up carefully like that, and then just open it up so that that will go down and into position. And you can actually make it almost like an A-frame just there, so that then just get the cables out the way so they're not going to prevent it being in place. And these ends of the black handlebars go on the outside of the red brackets like that. So, and what we need to do is just line up the holes there, and then we're going to push the bolt through the hole, just line that up. It's got a square end to it, and then we can put onto there first of all the flat washer, and then the spring washer, and finish off with the nut, and just get that nice and finger tight to start with. And then we just repeat that on the bottom hole, just give it a wiggle, sometimes a little bit of a wobble like that. And then again we put the washers on, and then the nut, flat washer, spring washer. Okay, and then what we need to do is just to tighten those up with our 13mm spanner. Give those a look to get them fairly tight, otherwise there'll be some movement in the handlebars. So we need to make sure that those split washers are flattened out. Once I've done this side, that's nice and tight, I'll just do exactly the same on this side. Okay, so all the nuts are nice and tight. And the next thing we need to do is just to lift the back part of the handlebar up like that, and just make sure that, again, cables aren't trapped at all. So we can put that into the position we want, and then lock that into place. And likewise with this one, that will just clip up there. So that's the handlebar all secure and in place. The other thing we can do is we need to do something to tidy up the cables, just to stop them flapping about or catching on branches as you mow by. So this clip here will hold the 3 cables. So I find the easiest way is just to slot the cables into there first, and then you can just simply put it onto the handlebar and give it a push, and that holds them all exactly where they are in the order that they're needed. And then the other one, so that part clips on, and then that one just simply clips down into it to hold that one in place. So that is that finished. So next thing to do is to have a look at the grass box, the grass collection box, and this needs a little bit of assembly, and it's quite simple. We've got the frame there for it. So what we do, we've got the bag, we're just going to slide it in, making sure that the handle, this piece that my hand is on the outside. So we just pull it in and it will fit to the shape like that. And then to hold it on, we've got these plastic clips. Little tip I always say is just to try and warm them up. If you just actually bend them a few times first, they warm up quite easily, so that you can open them with your fingers, and then that will just clip over that metal bar. So it's just a case of getting that in central for the top one, and then we'll put the bottom one on next. Again, before you get to that stage, just spend a minute or so just loosening it a little bit, because it can, especially when it's cold, be quite stiff and go hard. So we just need to soften it, or put it somewhere warm for an hour or two first, just to make it more pliable. And then it's just a case of slotting that over like that. So that's going nice and easily. Side ones, it's the same, and just work your way around until all the clips are in position. So we're just going to work our way around. These little black clips here can come off, because that's just there for protection. And the last one, I just need to push it through to the other side. To go at the minute, that's it, there we go. And again, we're just going to clip that one onto there, so we can see that it's clipped all the way around the sides along the top, and then I'm just going to repeat it on this side. Take that clip off and then push that one through. So it only takes a couple of minutes and we're ready. They can be thrown away, we don't need those. And that is it now. So we've got our grass collection box, and that fits very easily onto the back of the mower. We just lift the flap there. This is obviously where, when we're mowing, the grass is thrown out of the back. We want to catch it in there. So it hooks onto these silver stainless steel springs like that. That holds it nice and firmly, and then the flap of course stops it falling off when we're using it. So that is basically now set up. We've got the handlebars in place, the grass collection. So what we need to do next is to get it fueled up. So we need to get some petrol in it and oil in it, and then we can get it down on the ground, and I'll show you how to start it. So petrol is unleaded from the petrol station, E10. But bear in mind that modern petrols don't store as well as the old petrol that we used to get. It deteriorates quite quickly, so never leave the petrol in the tank for more than 30 days, because it will just make it more difficult to start and the engine won't run as smoothly. And don't use old petrol that you've had in the garage for a long time. And a little tip is, at the end of the season, use all the petrol in the tank, run the mower dry so it runs out of fuel, and that way there's no petrol sitting in the tank or the pipes or the carburetor over winter. And it just means next year when you fuel it up, it will start much easier. And you can also put an additive in. Briggs & Stratton recommend this additive that goes in their engines, and it will just keep the fuel more active and stabilize it, and you'll get better performance from the mower. So that can go in at the mixing stage when you're putting the petrol in. Next we need to put the oil in, and the oil is this side. This is the dipstick, so just twist that out. So there's the dipstick, and that's also where we are going to add the oil into there. So I'm just going to come around with the oil. This is the oil that's supplied with the mower, and we need 440 millilitres in this engine, and it just so happens that this bottle, it tells us here we've got 440 millilitres. So we're going to put the whole of the bottle in there. So we're just going to pour that in nice and carefully. You could use a little funnel if you wanted to, but it's quite a big hole. So just going to pour that in. And then we're going to check it with the dipstick. That's always a good tip. Don't just rely on the contents of this bottle. We also need to make sure the oil is at the right level on the dipstick. So we can get the dipstick. I'm just going to wipe it because sometimes there is a trace of oil on there from when it was factory tested, and put that in. Test it when it's in its closed position, and then open it again and it will come out. And if I hold that there, we can just see in the light the base there, we've got two holes. That hole indicates the lower level, that hole is the upper level, and we've got a hatch there in between. So as long as it's in between, it's okay. And it is there right at the top, just on the line. So that is perfect. I know we've got enough oil in there now to run the engine properly. What we would also do, a good little tip, is when the engine's just been running for a short while, just check that oil again when it's cooled, just to make sure that it's all settled and gone all around the engine. So we're all fueled up now, so what we'll do is lift it down onto the table and I'll show you how the in-start works, and then we'll get the mower going. Starting is very simple with this mower. There's no pull start. What we're actually using is in-start, which is a small battery that fits onto the top of the motor and actually fires it up. So this is provided with the mower, and you also get a charger so that you can keep this battery topped up. It will give lots and lots of starts, having said that, on a full charge. So that simply sits on top of the mower here. The little grooves there line up, and we just push it into place and it will click. And we can test the battery by just pushing the button there, and this tells us it's fully charged because we've got 4 green lights. That is it, ready to start. Before we start the mower, little tip is when this has been in transit, it's on the lowest cutting level, so it's very, very close to the grass. So if we start it now, that will damage the lawn, but it will also put some strain on the engine. So good little tip with any time you're starting is always lift the mower deck proud of the grass, so you've got a good airflow, and then you can always lower it then when you start to do the mowing. So that's lifted that up. If we have a look at the controls here at the top on the handlebar, first of all we've got the start button here, this red button here, which is what we're going to push to start it. That removes if you want to take it out as a safety feature so that it can't accidentally be started. It just simply pushes into position like that, and it comes with a spare, so you can keep that somewhere in the house should that one ever be lost. It's a 3-speed mower, so it's self-propelled, and you can set the speed 1, 2 or 3. So we'll put it midway, which is just a nice walking pace. And then the handles at the top, the red one is for starting, so we have to pull the red one back before we can push the start button. If we don't pull it back, it won't start. So that's a safety feature. And then when we want to stop the engine and stop mowing, we just simply release it like that. And when the engine is running, so we hold this one in permanently, then when we want to go forward, we just push the black handle in and the mower will go away. So really simple to use. So we're off, so let's get it started and give it a go. This hasn't been started before, so sometimes initially it just takes a little bit longer to get the petrol through, but once it's been run, one push will get it going. So pull the red lever in, push the button.
Remember to register your Cobra online at www.cobragarden.co.uk, and always have your Cobra serviced regularly. Check the website for your nearest dealer.